Hello, my name is Tania. Today I present our article, Reflective Practice in Software Development Studio, Findings in Ethnographic Study. In our schedule, we will see a brief introduction to the research objectives and context, research, results, research outcomes, conclusions, and references. The main objective of our research was to understand the reflective practice contribution to practical learning of mobile application development in the software development studio. So we had two specific objectives. Analyze the contributions of reflective practice to software development and the contributions of reflective practice to the development of individual competence. According to Sean, the reflective practice in the studio is supported by coaching and critique, and it consists in reflection in action, that is the reflection during the action, reflection on action, that is the reflection on back experiences, and conversation with material, that in this case is the reflective conversation with the product under development. We had two source of data. We used the ethnography method and the technique of participant observation to observe two teams throughout the project in mobile development that expanded 54 days. These two teams were composed each one by 4 students, being that 2 developers, 1 designer, and 1 diviner. The diviner is the student able to perform both roles. And so we observed, listened, and took notes. And also recorded our team records. Next, all these data were converted into digital files for coding and analysis. The other source of our collection was the students' self-reflections. At the end of the mobile application development, the students had the opportunity to share their experience and their feelings about this. So we had collected these self-reflections, converted into digital files for coding analysis. For data coding, we used the Saldanha cycle coding method, and for qualitative data analysis, we used the ATAST software. For first coding cycle, we used the structural coding. For second coding cycle, we used the reflective practice coding that considered the reflective practice codes according to Sean's concepts: reflection in action, reflection on action, and conversation with material. As a result, we reached our first objective: contributions of reflective practice to software development. Next, we performed the third coding cycle. We focused on software engineer practical learning. As a result, we reached our second objective: the contributions of reflective practice to the development of individual competence. The team A developed an adventure game focused on human voice and for iPhone. The results of analysis of these teams from coding cycles, we noticed that the reflection in action results in creation, reflection on action and conversation with material results in decision-making, planning, problem-solving, project management, scope management, and time management. And from participant observation, the findings were collaboration, commitment, communication, conflict management, interpersonal leadership, pair programming, teamwork, and technical research. Here I will highlight 2 skills that appears in this team and not in the team B, because during the development this team had a leadership conflict, so the students had to learn how to manage this kind of conflict, and they acquired and developed these abilities. Team B developed a musical game focused on generative track for iPad. The results from coding cycles of these teams are similar to the previous team. And from participant observation, the results are the same except by learning experience and technical learning. Learning experience refers to a situation in which a developer had shared with the group an experience from a previous challenge, and based on this learning experience, the team decided to change their solution to avoid commit mistakes. And technical learning refers to the situation that the students had to learn how to manage the soundtrack with program. They had no programmed before the soundtrack dynamic generative track with integrating the program with the soundtrack. So it was a challenge, and they had to do technical research, and they acquire technical learning. Next, we had analyzed the self-reflections, and from the self-reflection we had used structured and descriptive coding methods. And the results of self-reflections of analysis of team A were this, and here I will only highlight the difference from the team B, and I will call attention that communication problem, conflict management, and interpersonal problem refers to that situation I had explained before, and the others are related to the students' feelings. And the analysis of self-reflections of team B results in these competences, and these are the competences different from the other team. Appears here planning, project business, and time management, technical research and technical learning. I will record that technical research and technical learning are related to the situation I had explained about learn how to manage the soundtrack into the program. And considering that our data come from different sources, to find our research outcomes, we use the triangulation technique. And regarding to the first objective, reflective practice contributions to software development, we noticed that reflective practice by reflection in action promotes the emergence of new ideas that results in creation, the refining in a continuous cycle, and the students help the students to build a culture of supportive critique. And regarding to the objective 2, the reflective practice contributions to the development of individual competence, we notice that reflective practice helps the students to develop some software engineering practice required for practitioners, and also helps to develop some technical skills. in case of these teams and these projects, they acquired pair programming, programming soundtrack, and research reference, new technical skills. I forgot to say that in Team A, the developers had no previous experience in pair programming. So they had acquired this experience throughout this challenge. And to resume our conclusions, we noticed that the reflective practice, by reflection in action, promotes the process of emerging new ideas, and it results in creation. And the reflective practice in the studio helps the students to develop the skills required for software engineering practice. Here we are grouped them in categories: attitude skills, project management skills, and technical skills. The reflective practice allows students personal growth, learning experience in learning by experience, according to the observation and the reports of the students. And as shown earlier, the reflective practice helps the students to acquire a kind of artistic talent. For Sean, artistic talent are that competence inherited the practice that students only can learn by practicing. And finally, study helps to build a culture of supportive creativity, emphasize the practical learning, and supports the development of some some skills, and seems to be an authentic environment of relationship between academic disciplines and the real-world experience, where students can learn by practice and prepare better for real world. The limitations, we had executed this study in only one software studio and covered only a mobile application development. Of course, other limitation is the bias of the researcher that executes the collection and analysis. In the future works, we can repeat this study with two teams in parallel, being that one using the reflective practice in a study environment, and another in other environment, in a classical education environment, that do not use the reflective practice. And other possibility is provide the same required in guidelines for a studio team and to new developers that works in a company team. So compare the results at the end. Now the reference, and I finished. So thanks, and I will open for questions now.